you've played in so many of these top 10, top 5 games, and Dobbins and some of the young guys have played in maybe one of them. Just what's your thought, I guess, about how to keep it in perspective and go play your best game?
Well, since I've been here, Coach Mars always talking about big games. The most prepared team is going to win that game, and I think that's very true. So with that being said, you don't win the game on Saturday, even in other games, but you really think about it in big games, you don't really win that game Saturday night. Like, you win that game on practice, Tuesday's practice or Wednesday practice, Thursday practice, and at the end of the day, big time games, you think about it, it's not going to be one of those things where you got to tell somebody to go hard. Like, what are we talking about? But it's not going to be one of those type games, but it's more of who makes the less mistakes and execution on offense, defense, like I said, less mistakes, knowing their assignments, things like that. That's the type of big games.
So I think the biggest thing, one, is to make sure you don't take anybody lightly. First off, going into a week, and that's not to say that Clemson or Washington State or whoever the third, Washington took a team lightly, and that's to make sure, again, my job as a center, as the fifth-year senior, as a captain of this team, of this offense as well, is to make sure that we're continuing to play fast. Don't take the throw off anybody's, or don't take the throw off anybody. We were particularly, in a case like last week with Nebraska came back on Oregon, and to make sure that, again, we have a team, the team can build momentum, and again, you still got, in a game of 60 minutes, you still got another 30 minutes to go play ball. So I think that's probably the biggest thing, and especially going into a bye week, still making sure that you're crisp, still making sure that you have confidence in the game plan, your fundamentals, and to sharpen up on some of the fundamental technique aspects that offensive line play kind of gets away from during the season. So that's what this bye week's been really going into. Again, not taking anybody, anybody lightly, and to continue to have that preparation to make sure that the intensity and the attention to detail is still there.
How do you feel that you guys have changed? Do you feel like you're a different team since you played Oklahoma?
I feel like we are, in the sense that we're just executing at a much higher level. We're not leaving any stone unturned. Not that we did necessarily against Oklahoma, but I feel like just, everybody's saying it, but it's just the practice habits that we're approaching the practice each and every day. There's a direct correlation in the way you perform on Saturday. So just trying to keep that rhythm going and being on the attack mode, I feel like that's really big for us. We don't want to be, catching our opponents. We want to be on the attack the whole game, and I feel like that's different.
JT, you look at these guys on video, and I don't know if you watched Saturday night, but what just jumps out at you about their defense, the way they play defense? As Urban Meyer said, they kind of just come at you.
Yeah, we blitz quite a bit, but also, too, I think they play very well together. The guys they got older guys that been under this system for a minute now, I think since 2014, so now they're starting to really understand and play off each other very well, but they do it good after you.
Is Kabinda number 40, is he a guy you have to sort of identify on every play where he is? They kind of use him as sometimes as that kind of wild card guy, but what's just your take on that?
Not necessarily him. I think he's the heart and soul of their defense. I'm talking about a real run stopper. I think they, feed off the energy that he brings to that defense. Good player, but as far as understanding where he's at, I don't think he gives you tips on anything. I think, they have him in the box and he runs the ball, and he's just a tough guy.
Billy, I think at the beginning of the year, or after the Oklahoma game, you got a lot of questions, and JT got a lot of questions about if he was the right starting quarterback on this team and all that stuff. Have you seen, in watching film of the offense and kind of the numbers and stuff that he's put up the last few weeks, have you seen a different person, a different player? Has there actually been the transformation that we kind of think or see in terms of that, or is it just you guys played teams that can't match up athletically?
No, I think I know it's definitely not teams that can't match up athletically. I think in the Big Ten, especially, we start talking about recruiting in the SEC versus Big Ten, ACC versus Big Ten. Athletes are athletes all the way across the board. So I think that one is definitely out. And two, I think that's the fun part about knowing JT behind the scenes that you guys don't get to see. That man has not changed. That man, we have complete confidence. That's what I told everybody. We have complete confidence going into every game plan with him being behind me. It's making sure that I think the offense is continuing to grow, continuing to develop in different dimensions, and you start seeing wide receivers start running wide open underneath. So those mesh routes underneath and making sure dumping the ball off shorter distances, and then you see a post route that goes to Terry McLaurin for 30-some yards. So you start seeing that, and I think the other thing with JT is against Nebraska, it was like 20-mile-an-hour winds, and he threw a dime. And that's something, again, most people don't really get to see that. So, I mean, to speak numbers to a quarterback of who he is, the kid has not changed a thing. You know, again, preparation, the nose to the grind, and making sure that everything is attention to detail, making sure that this offense continues to grow and develop. That's exactly who he is. So I think, again, our offense has grown. The coaching staff has been more comfortable with each other. The scheme in which we're attacking people has been, great and fantastic. Those guys are putting us in a position to dominate, and we're playing fast, and we're seeing a lot of good things happen from it.
I feel like you guys handle defenses that like to blitz a lot.
I think we handle it well. I mean, that's the thing about blitzing. So depends on how the defense brings it. So if they show you the blitz, they're kind of showing you the hand, so then we could protect it if it's a pass play, or we could, set it up in the run game. But if they hide it, it's one of those things, well, you're probably not going to hit home, and so we'll be able to get the ball out. So I don't know. I think both. I think we handle it well. I mean, we wish we were better, absolutely, but I don't think, especially this year, one, we haven't been getting a lot of blitz, except for Army blitz the whole game, but I think we handled that well. So this year I think we've been handling it. And then, I mean, in practice too, our coaches do a great job of getting us all looked possible. Even if they don't show a certain blitz a lot, we should get it, 5-6 times just to make sure that if they want to bring that blitz, that would be prepared for it.
Terry, your coach talked a lot about Penn State's pass defense. He called it the best in the country. What do you see from them? Is there anything particularly you feel like you can exploit, or what do you expect them to do?
I expect them to be aggressive. They blitzed us a lot last year. They're confident right now. They're one of the top scoring defenses. So I feel like they really pride themselves on creating some chaos, some confusion up front, and hoping that they could capitalize on our mistakes. It's our job as an offense to make sure our spacing is right as wide receivers, give JT a clean pocket, and just execute what we've been doing the last couple weeks. We just got to take it up a notch. Big game. You can't afford any turnovers, and we've been doing a great job. So we just got to capitalize when the ball's in our hands.
Yeah, you say, take it up a notch. It's a big game. Does it feel like this is kind of your chance to prove that everything you've done so far isn't just we can do this against Nebraska, an inferior opponent, but this is who we are?
Yes. When you're on this type of stage, everybody's watching, and you want everybody to, believe that you're for real. But I feel like the guys in our locker room know what we can do, and we just are keeping building and grinding, and I feel like we're going to be ready for Saturday.
What's the benefit of this off week? Did it come at a good time for you guys? Obviously, camp comes when it comes, as they will say.
Absolutely. I think, I was telling Lori, I think it was the right opportunity at the right time for us. Going 7 weeks in a season, and you're starting to get into the grind of the Big Ten season. We got Iowa, we got Michigan State, team up north, Illinois, Penn State. Those teams are very highly respected teams, top 5 defenses across the board. And so going into those type of weeks and getting that kind of rest and getting that, the extra fundamental work that some of us are being able to polish up on, I think it's really going to help us going down the stretch.
You guys lead the nation in scoring. Have you heard outside the program where people aren't necessarily buying into the offense until they see what you guys do against Penn State? Have you heard that talk?
We don't necessarily focus on that. We focus on us getting better each and every week. I feel like that's really what's the difference since Oklahoma. While you study your opponent, if we execute our plays that we've installed since spring when Coach Day and Coach Wilson got here, then we're going to be a tough offense to deal with. And I feel like just that starts with practice, it starts with the leaders, and just our execution has really come a long way, and we're leaving no stone unturned.
Dude, when it comes to all these stats, right? You guys are number one, they're number one, defense, offense, back and forth. Do you look at like a lot of those stats, both personal, like guys on the team, especially somebody like JT,
right,
and as well as team stats? Are you kind of like a stats guy? Do you pay attention to a lot of that stuff throughout the year?
Yeah, I always say numbers don't lie, and when you see the numbers that we put up and the numbers that they put up, somebody's gonna have to win. Whether you have the number one offense on our side or number one defense on their side, somebody has to get that edge. And we're excited for the task. It's probably the best defense we've faced all year. So it's going to be a good measuring stick for us, and we got to execute at the highest level to win.
Well, something that I found interesting, and if so far JT's around like 315 yards of total offense per game, right? If my math is correct, if he can finish out the last 5 games of the regular season at 330 yards per game of total offense, he's going to become the Big Ten's all-time leader in total offense.
Wow.
You think he's got that in him this weekend to put up 330 against a tough Penn State defense?
I mean, if you ask him, he would probably say, as long as we get the win, if he threw for 3 yards, he wouldn't really care. But he's just a great leader, and he's going to put us in the best situation to make plays. But that would be cool if he could put up those type of numbers.
JT, you guys were playing at a really high level last 5 games going into that open week. Did you get the work done that you needed to last week to kind of keep that progress going? Are you happy with what you guys got done last week?
Yeah, I think when it comes to bye week, get back to fundamentals, and I think we were able to do that. I think the practices we had last week went well, both offense and defense. We even got some game situation stuff in there, so I think we got a lot done and just continue to grow as far as fundamentals, because you kind of get away from it a little bit, don't have those, I guess you would say, periods for fundamentals, so getting back to those things was good for us.
This is why you come to Ohio State, to play in these big games, and it just adds on to it that they beat us last year, and the winner of this game is going to have an edge in the Big Ten and in the college football.
Do you think that they're going to have maybe revenge on their mind, considering that they beat you guys and the way things played out and you got into the Final Four instead of them? I mean, do you think they're going to probably be coming in just as fired up as you guys are?
Oh, definitely. You're going to have 2 teams that are hungry for, to be the top dogs in the Big Ten and be one of the top teams in the country. So I wouldn't expect any different from them. I feel like they're going to come out aggressive. They're going to look to show that they're the number 2 team in the country, and our job is to execute at a high level and show that we're the top team in the country. So, it's going to be a long game, a tough execution type game, but the team that can execute and play the hardest the longest is going to win.
Well, and especially the fact that you guys, are tops in the conference, and in a lot of, respective categories in the country. I'm assuming you guys are expecting a dogfight.
Oh, definitely. You come to Ohio State and you expect dogfights, especially at this time of the season. We're coming off a bye week, so that I feel like that's an advantage for us. We got a jump start on them, but they're going to come in ready. They're coming off of a big win at their place, and we're just really excited to get in front of our home fans and put on a good show.
You use revenge as a motivator.
No, I don't.
Especially how things went down last year.
Yeah, I don't think since I've been here, like even in 2013 we go play Michigan State, in 2014, revenge wasn't something that was talked about. Like, that's not something that was said. And same thing when we lost to Virginia Tech and we go play in 2015. It's never been something that I guess motivates us, because that means you're holding on to the past, and there's so many things that have happened since then, So like last year, there's so many things that have happened with our program. There's different people, and it's a different place. Like, it's a different year, totally different. They're in a different spot than they were last year, so I wouldn't say revenge is something. I haven't even heard that word.
Billy, stupid question, but I'm going to ask it. Have you guys had this game circled on your schedule since the beginning of the year, and is honestly revenge on your mind?
Headline
right there, baby.
We're coming. No, I think it's an opportunity again. You always reflect, especially as you go into the next year, reflect on the things that you did good last year and the things you did bad last year. And we always say football is a game of one play. I mean, again, one play could change a season, one play could, destroy a season, create a season, get that spark. In 2014, you start seeing guys take off. 2015 again, 2016 had a hiccup. Again, it's a hiccup. It is what it is, and the play kind of defined our season itself to where we know we could have been, where we should have been. We just didn't get the job done. So I think that this is an opportunity for us to make sure that we have a lot of attention to detail, making sure that we take care of our assignments. It's a good opportunity. It's a great opportunity. I think they're right now ranked number 2 in the nation. And again, a lot of respect for the Big Ten, and I know those guys are going to bring it next week.
Thanks, Billy.
It's hot water.